Tahoe. Sweet Pea, Pernell Whitaker continues his professional career. He'll take on Carlos Bojorquez in a 10-round junior middleweight showdown from Lake Tahoe. Teddy had a chance to talk with Sweet Pea yesterday.
Pernell, you're 37 years old now. You're coming off a 2-year layoff, the longest of your career. No matter what anybody says, how good you look in the gym, how good you feel, you don't know if you have it all.
And you'll never know until you get in there and show it.
When are you gonna know?
I know tonight. If I don't look good in this fight, it's over. If I get hit more than 3 times, I'm done.
The great fighters, what made them great is they never got hit 2 punches in a row.
Exactly. I never had to experience that.
Right there, if you get hit 2 punches in a row, you're out of here.
I'm done. If that kid hit me twice, if I get hit with a good shot and then turn around and get hit right back,
yep,
that means my eyes aren't there.
Because the great ones never got hit 2 in a row.
That's right.
Has there been a time when you were younger, when you were watching one of the great fighters, to you, and you thought to yourself, he stayed too long?
I see that now. You know, of course, you know, you always like Ray Leonard coming back.
When you saw that,
I know that won't happen to me. No.
I was just gonna say, when you saw that, you said that won't happen to me.
No, and it won't. Trust me.
Why won't it?
Why? Because when I say it's over, it's not over till I say it's over. But when I say it's over,
isn't that what they said?
But we don't all think alike.
I'm gonna make you the commissioner right now because I've been screaming for a national commission, and you know the sport needs one.
I'm behind you 100%.
Oh, thank you. And I'm gonna make you the commissioner. When should a fighter stop? When should, which is a very difficult question, when should a commissioner step in and say?
A fighter should start when it's corner season. You know, if he's not thinking for himself, then you gotta think for him. If you know,
what if he doesn't listen?
Then you just you take it to the commission, and you tell the commission that we told him to stop, he won't stop. Then they cut his license.
I agree with you. That's how it should be.
That's how it should be. So let's get it done. You know, I'm behind you 100%. Even like Holyfield, I wouldn't. If Holyfield was there, he wouldn't fight in my stadium. Cause I think, and like I told him, I don't think it's not worth it, man. You know, he have Hall of Fame status. You know, he may have lost those status nowadays. He keep jumping back in the ring, and it's not getting better. It's not getting better. It's deteriorating even worse. Then now the fans aren't looking at him as though they used to look at him. You know, he's just becoming an opponent, a journeyman. You know, and I don't want that. So I told him, man, don't fight, please, for me. Because if you do, then you're gonna get hurt.
You've always been an honest fighter. I'm gonna hold you for your word. I'm gonna finish the interview with this. You get hit 2 punches in a row.
You retire.
Retire.
I'm done.
You've been great.
You let me know when we sit down and talk after the fight. You know, you just let me know. You know, but I know when I come to sit down and talk to you, you're gonna be like, ooh, he's back.
I hope so.
All right, then. All right, then.
Pretty strong words from Pernell Whitaker. In fact, going after one of his old stablemates, Evander Holyfield. Teddy, you had a situation recently, Junior Jones. You were with him. He didn't look good. Said he was going to retire, but he came back. Do you think if Pernell Whitaker gets caught with a couple of punches tonight, clean power shots back to back to back, that he's going to be realistic and step aside?
It's very difficult because the thing that made these great fighters great, the ego, is sometimes the thing that destroys them. So sometimes where they can't control that is what he said. You have to listen to people who can see it more clearly and more honestly. Let's hope Pernell listens to those people, and let's hope Pernell sees it clearly. All right, that is coming up in our main event a little bit later on. But we have more boxing action for you. It's a 6-round junior middleweight bout. R.J. Karsten. We're set for tonight's main event here on Friday Night Fights, presented by Miller High Life. Sweet Pea is back. Pernell Whitaker returns to action after a 2-year, 65-day layoff. Sweet Pea, at 37 years of age, has 40 wins. A decorated champion, pound for pound, the best in the world in his prime.
4 different weight classes, he reigned as the best in the world. Pernell Whitaker has had a thing about collecting belts. It started in February of 1989 when he took out Greg Haugen for the IBF Lightweight Championship, a 12-round decision win for Pernell. He added the WBC belt in '89 with a 12-round decision win against Jose Luis Ramirez. After a couple of fights here in Lake Tahoe, he completed the sweep, winning against Juan Nazario, the undisputed lightweight champion. Pernell had his eyes set on the junior welterweight title, and he took it 1992 against Rafael Pineda. He won a 12-round decision in that bout. Pernell Whitaker wasn't done. On he went to the welterweight division, where he squared off against Buddy McGirt. And again, Pernell was dominant. Right in the prime of his career, he outboxed McGirt and would capture the WBC welterweight championship. He'd had the junior middleweight crown. And then, in 1997, Oscar De La Hoya squared off against Whitaker. Whitaker was as sharp as ever, elusive as ever. But when the cards were tallied, it was an upset. Whitaker came up on the short end of the stick. Despite the controversial loss, Whitaker was still a name to be reckoned with. February the 20th, 1999, Madison Square Garden, Whitaker and Felix Trinidad for the IBF Welterweight Championship. According to CompuBox, in Whitaker's career, opponents only connected at 28%. In this fight, Trinidad landed a whopping 54%. Whitaker landed at 47% with his power shots. But Sweet Pea would make no excuses for arguably the first true loss of his career.
I feel like the fight was close enough to lose. Obviously, when he broke my jaw, I fought 6 rounds with a broken jaw. There is no man on the planet who could say that other than one. That's Muhammad Ali. You know, and I feel good to be in that category. But I don't think there's a man walking around on this planet today that can do what I did. He was scheduled to be knocked out by the 9th round, and I was on pace to get it, but he got away.
Whitaker is on his way to the Hall of Fame, so why does he continue?
Why do I continue? It's for the love of the sport. You know, I'm a competitor. You know, I love to compete. You know, I compete at a high level. You know, I've been on top of the world for 14 years. Tonight is like a debut to me. You know, this is my second lifespan on boxing. You know, it's a clean slate. I'm back to capture the world. You know, the world missed Pernell Whitaker. You know, so I'm back to put the world back on my shoulder.
Whitaker's return starts tonight against Carlos Bojorquez of Miraloma, California. The 28-year-old has 14 wins and 10 knockouts. Bojorquez feels that he has the stuff tonight to send Whitaker into retirement.
Well, I feel very good. I'm actually very happy to fight this guy because he was a great fighter. I seen him fight a lot of my people in Mexico, and I will beat this guy.
They are set for tonight's main event. For the introductions, here's Jim Hall.
The 3 judges assigned to this bout: Keith McDonald, Dave Moretti, and Doug Tucker. Your referee in charge of the action is Joe Cortez. Now, ladies and gentlemen, introducing first and fighting out of the red corner, wearing white and black and weighing 153 pounds. His record, 14 victories, 2 losses, 5 draws with 10 knockouts. From Los Mochis, Mexico, here is Carlos El Elegante Bojorquez. Bojorquez. His opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He's wearing black and weighing 155 pounds. His record, he's had 40 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw with 17 knockouts. From Norfolk, Virginia, here's the former Olympic gold medalist and 6-time world champion in 4 different weight classes. One of the best in the business. Please welcome Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker.
So we're set for tonight's main event between Bojorquez and Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. Bojorquez's last 5 opponents Combined winning percentage of 70%. When he fought on August the 5th, he knew he had a fight coming up with Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. He's been in preparation for almost 6 months. Whitaker has not fought since February of 1999, as we chronicled, against Felix Trinidad. Only 2 losses for his last 5 opponents. Had to get off the deck against Hurtado in a fight that Pernell took a bit lightly. Let's take a look at the rules. In Nevada, they use unified rules for all their bouts. No 3 knockdown rule, no standing 8 count. Only the referee can stop it. Fighter cannot be saved with the bell in any round. Accidental foul, they'll go to the scorecards after 4 rounds complete. Prior to that, a no contest. So Teddy Whitaker admitted to you that if he gets hit with 2 shots back to back, 2 or 3 in a row, he'll know he doesn't have it anymore.
Especially with this caliber opponent, Bojorquez, taking nothing away from the game man, Bojorquez, but not on the level, not even on in the stratosphere of Whitaker. Or what Whitaker we remember. Bojorquez is a strong guy, naturally, of course, the bigger guy. Long arms, has a reach advantage over Whitaker.
Bring out.
But when it comes to cleverness, when it comes to experience, when it comes to ability, well, it's no contest.
Whitaker said that once he gets things going with this fight, he wants to fight only the best. A little miffed as to why Trinidad never offered him a rematch. Had a lot of respect for Trinidad. De La Hoya, same thing. He said, never offered me a rematch. They know where I am. They have my phone number.
This fight is not so much up to Bojorquez. It's up to Whitaker. What Whitaker has left at 37 years of age, after 44 fights, and after a 2-year layoff. Whitaker's in there with an opponent who's much slower, not hard to hit, just a game guy. Those guys did not used to be able to hang out in the ring with Pernell. We will see. Give Pernell time, though. Just started. He's been off 2 years. He wants to get into the flow, get into the rhythm. One thing I've noticed about Pernell, I talked to him about it yesterday, Bob. And since he's the last few years when he hasn't been, maybe arguably not the prime Whitaker, although he has been in there with top guys. Let's not forget that. The guys he's lost to have been the best fighters in boxing. Guys like De La Hoya, which a lot of people could argue that he didn't lose that fight.
You know, when you look at his record, he had the draw against Chavez, in which you could say he was robbed. He had the loss to Ramirez in '88, which he was robbed. Really, you can really make, because he's only lost once, and that was to Trinidad.
No doubt about it. But the last couple of years, I've noticed a change, and I talked to him about that yesterday. I noticed that when people have been talking that he's not the same Whitaker, I noticed that he's changed his style, and you see it now. He's become more aggressive. That's not the Pernell Whitaker that was one of the greatest lightweight champions of all time, and one of the most consistent, if not the most consistent fighter of the last 15 years. That Whitaker was a counterpuncher, a real good boxer, a defensive whiz like Ozzie Smith from the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, he was defense all the way. He would make you come in, make you miss, he would counter. Now he presses more. And I think he does that to try to justify to the people that he's still good. And they should still watch.
Man, I'm hungry.
Round number 2 underway. Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker in his return to action against Carlos Bojorquez. You remember the name Bojorquez if you're a weekly loyalist of Friday Night Fights. We saw him a couple of times against Blaze Suarez in Las Vegas. Had a 2nd round stoppage and a 4-round decision. You take a look at the numbers. 10 power shots connected by Whitaker.
What I was touching on in the last round, Bob, is Whitaker. We know that he's one of the great lightweights of all time, but he wasn't just that. He was one of the most consistent fighters of all time. 15 years fighting the top and beating the top. But as I said the last round, when he did that, he was a counterpuncher. He would get guys into all kinds of traps. He'd make you miss and make you pay. His defense was as much his game as anything else. Last couple of years, when people have been saying that he's not as good as he used to be, I noticed he's pressing more. Look. He's the one coming forward, and that has not been his forte. That was not his great talent. I talked to him about it yesterday. I said, why are you doing that, Sweet Pea? Are you doing that partly because people, you have ears, you listen, you hear people saying it's not the same Whitaker, he's not as good, he's missed a step, he's missed an inch on his fastball like they say about baseball players. Are you doing it to liven it up, to show people that, hey, you could do it a different way, to show people there's still a reason to watch you? He said, yeah, I'm doing it for that, and I'm also showing I can make an adjustment. Do it a different way.
And, you know, he would break out that power game when he desperately needed it, like Hurtado when he was down in that fight on the scorecards. He had been dropped twice in that bout and took him out in the 11th round. He desperately needed his power.
But the only thing to be on a level Pernell wants to be on, the thing that he has always made him great is not the pressing forward. It's been the counterpunching style. By him adopting this style, he's kind of saying that maybe my reflexes have slowed just a little bit, and I got to do it a different way. I think he hurt his left shoulder.
Yep, he grabbed his left shoulder.
You know, Pernell Whitaker, as great as he's been on the floor several times in his career. He's always gotten off the floor and won, except for that one time against Trinidad.
We're going to have to eavesdrop on his corner in between these rounds to find out, as he grabbed his left shoulder here in this last minute of the second round, what Whitaker's feeling.
All right, ring out, step back. When you're 37 years old and you're coming back off a 2-year layoff, sometimes things start to hurt a little bit more. That left shoulder there, after he threw that left hand of Pernell Whitaker, bothered him. We'll have to see whether or not that becomes a factor as the fight goes on.
Joe Cortez, the referee, went over to Whitaker's corner, asked him if he was okay. He had the doctor look at it. Pernell said it was okay, but he kept kind of twisting it. I don't know if he pulled something or if something caught, but it looked like he was trying to loosen it up. He did throw a couple of lefts after that.
You know, as much as Pernell's known as one of the greatest defensive fighters of all time, he's a warrior. He don't become champion as many times as Pernell Whitaker, a 4-time world champion in different weight classes, by being only talented. You have that special desire inside you. But again, I think one of the questions here, Bob, people at the age of 37, Pernell being inactive, coming back, is whether or not he can be as good defensively as he used to be, with his reflexes being older, being more used. And being that he's adapting a style where he's going to press more, there's more chances of him getting hit more.
Teddy, and he threw one uncomfortable left hand early in this round, and he hasn't thrown one since. 30 jabs, according to Joe Carnicel, and he gets tabbed.
Because he went straight back.
And then Tommy Brooks, his trainer, told him, you can't go straight back.
Not from close. If you're going to go back from a distance where your opponent is not in range. Then you have a chance to go back and set up for a counter before your opponent can come in. But if you go back from too close, your opponent can step with you and catch you on the way out.
Still only one left hand thrown by Whitaker so far here in this third round. Remember, he threw it in the second round, grabbed his left shoulder in pain, said he was okay. But he's only thrown it once, and it was an awkward one early in this round. There's another one, his second, but nothing on it.
And that left hand was the hand that pulled him out of the fire in '97 when he was behind on points against Hurtado going into the 11th round, and he knocked Hurtado out with all left hand. Hopefully, for Pernell's sake, he will not need the left hand in that kind of dire situation.
2 left hands thrown by Whitaker so far in this third round. They're going to keep it here and take it to Whitaker's corner.
Again, Court going straight back. You know, again, standing right in front with his hands down, going back. Court with the right hand of the game for Bojorquez. You know, a point should be made right here. He's getting Court going back because he has a different style now. He goes forward and then he goes back. In the old days, he wouldn't have got Court going back.
And he throws just his third left hand of the round. Take it to the corner of Pernell Whitaker. Let's listen to Tommy Brooks and Lou Duva.
Hey, listen. The only reason you getting caught is because you still pulling straight back.
Pernell, how's your shoulder?
You can't pull straight back, baby. You know what I'm
How's your
saying?
shoulder?
You got to pull to the side. You got to pull to after you short enough stuff, you can't step back. Step to the side. Either side. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Your shoulder okay, Pernell? Do you want to continue with...
All right. Yeah. Either side. You got to step.
Come on, leave us alone, will you, please?
Hey, listen.
I got to tell you.
God damn it, leave us alone, for Christ's sake. Let him get over there. He's all right.
Hey, listen. You can't pull straight back. That's where you're getting caught at, pulling straight back.
Back to round 2, Teddy. There's the punch by Whitaker. Grabbed the shoulder. He only threw 3 left hands in the entire 3rd round.
Looks like it's becoming a factor. But the last round is the first round I gave to Bojorquez.
I'll give him Bojorquez the last 2 rounds, Teddy. Whitaker gets caught again, and there's the shoulder. And that's what happens when you're 37.
Come on, let's go. Come on. Let's go.
No.
And you're coming off a 2-year layoff.
And that's it. But unfortunately, Teddy, as he keeps grabbing his shoulder, the shoulder blade, these are the kind of things that happen, though, to older fighters. Injuries start getting in the way, and they become built-in excuses.
This fight's going to be stopped.
It is stopped. Whitaker can't go on. So Bojorquez pulls off the upset. Not so much by what he did, but it was the left hand of Whitaker in the 2nd round. Did something to his shoulder blade. But as I mentioned, Teddy, as fighters get older, all of a sudden these injuries crop up, and it keeps giving them excuses to continue.
You hate to see a great, and I don't use that word too often, great fighter like Pernell not go out with a win. The only problem with this, though, is that if he doesn't have it left anymore, this opens the door for him to say, hey, it wasn't me. You know, Bob, it was my shoulder. I'm going to come back because if my shoulder was okay, I would have been fine. I would have won that fight. And who knows, maybe he would have. But we do know one thing. At 37 years of age, and after a 2-year layoff, this is not the Pernell Whitaker that we remember in a great, great, great way.
Something with the rotator cuff. There were some reports that he hurt his left shoulder in training, although he told us yesterday he was 100%. But a left punch, a left hand in the 2nd round, and that's where Whitaker first hurt that shoulder, as Bojorquez gets obviously the biggest win of his career. As he was able to nail Whitaker, kept going straight back. You see right there, round 2. Then 3rd round, Whitaker only threw 3 left hands in the whole round. And then you get a look here. And it was Bojorquez just pushing back the arm of Whitaker that caused the pain. The doctor came in and grabbed it, and that was it.
Again, in all fairness, if he didn't hurt his shoulder, we don't know if he would have got better or not. He may have gotten better. But this will leave the opening for him to come back, whether he should or not, because he's going to say the shoulder hurt.
Bojorquez got the win. We'll talk with Pernell Whitaker, but first here's Brian and Matt.